In August 2022, Warner Brothers made the stunning announcement that they were shelving the already completed $90 million Batgirl movie, suggesting that the film was so shockingly bad that it would cause irreparable harm to the DC brand. Not putting it in movie theaters, not on streaming, but rather straight into the dustbin of cinema history. Which got me wondering, what other films were so bad or so controversial that they never saw the light of day? This is the story of 5 notorious films that never got released.
Five.
Leonardo DiCaprio learned the hard way that the more famous you are, the more private you have to become. He spent his formative years running around Los Angeles with the likes of Tobey Maguire and Kevin Connolly, a group that would soon be labeled the Pussy Posse by an infamous New York Magazine article, written about their womanizing, fighting, and other entitled behavior. While these antics have largely been forgiven, a black and white 2001 independent film called Don's Plum documented some of the unsavory characteristics of its young ensemble cast. The film itself is mostly an improvisational affair, one that paints Leo and company in quite a negative light. Given the generally offensive behavior of its stars, Leonardo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire feared that the film would expose their, quote, troubling personal experiences and tendencies. With their clean-cut reputations at stake, DiCaprio and Maguire hired lawyers and filed a lawsuit to have scenes removed and block any North American release. DiCaprio and Maguire maintained that they agreed to be in the film as a favor to a friend, but when they saw that the film had been cut in order to feature the 2 stars, they claimed that they'd been deceived. One of the producers of the film has long campaigned to get the original version of the film released, but after more than 20 years, Don's Plum seems destined to forever remain damaged by the posse.
4.
Ask any cinephile to name the first movie that Quentin Tarantino wrote, directed, and acted in, and they'll say Reservoir Dogs, but they wouldn't be correct. The real answer is My Best Friend's Birthday, a low-budget 1987 comedy shot in black and white that the director made while he was still working at the Video Archives movie rental store in Manhattan Beach. The film was reportedly 70 minutes long and not very good, but still chock full of the director's trademark pop culture references. I was totally embarrassed, Tarantino told Variety, so I was like, okay, I don't have a movie here. This is not She's Gotta Have It, but I learned a lot doing this. This was my film school. For years, the story was that half the footage was destroyed in a lab fire, but the book, My Best Friend's Birthday, The Making of a Quentin Tarantino Film, actually claims there wasn't a fire at all, but that half the film was lost by accident, and Tarantino allowed the lab fire tale to spread because it sounded more interesting. The surviving 36 minutes of footage is indeed online. A link is in the description below, but Tarantino's actual first feature film is destined to never be seen in its entirety.
3.
1988's Dark Blood is the story of a young man known only as The Boy, who believes that the end of the world is coming. The boy lives in self-imposed exile in the desert after his wife dies of radiation poisoning due to nearby nuclear weapons testing. Meanwhile, a man and his wife break down as they are traveling through the desert. Seeking help, the couple meets the boy, but soon realize that he is not the salvation that they had hoped for. The story is one of tragedy, the same as River Phoenix, who plays the boy. Phoenix died of a highly publicized overdose on the sidewalk outside of Johnny Depp's club, The Viper Room, while in the midst of filming Dark Blood. The film's director, George Sluizer, estimated that roughly 80% of the film had been completed before Phoenix's death, and that he desperately hoped to complete it. He even approached River's younger brother Joaquin to fill in, a request that the Phoenix family rejected. Undeterred, Sluizer assembled a partial cut of the film, simply providing narration over the missing scenes. This version of Dark Blood was screened a handful of times at international film festivals in 2012, but the full cut, as it was originally envisioned, will forever remain incomplete.
2.
Marvel's first family has not had much luck in the film industry. Each attempt to bring the Fantastic Four to the screen has been met with criticism and ridicule, especially the troubled 2015 reboot. Way back in 1993, however, B-movie legend Roger Corman and partner Bernd Eichinger were about to release their version of the Fantastic Four, which included the group's origin story and their first battle with nemesis Dr. Doom. Trailers were released in theaters and on home video, the cast promoted the film at festivals and even Comic-Con, and then nothing. Stan Lee speculated that Eichinger had never intended to release the film, and that it was simply a way for him to retain the rights to the characters while he found funding for a bigger budget adaptation. Eichinger denied these claims, instead saying that Marvel executive I.E. Arad was concerned that the B-movie would harm the franchise, and paid the producers to shelve the film. In 2002, Arad recounted a story in which he met a fan who was excited about the upcoming premiere of Corman and Eichinger's Fantastic Four, something he was completely unaware of. Fearing that the low-budget adaptation would cheapen the Fantastic Four brand, he paid Corman and Eichinger, quote, "a couple of million in cash," and ordered all of the prints destroyed. Only in Hollywood can you do your job so poorly that they pay you millions of dollars more just so your work will never see the light of day.
1.
More like an urban legend in Hollywood, The Day the Clown Cried is a wildly inappropriate and misguided 1972 film starring Jerry Lewis, who plays a clown sent to a concentration camp. Lewis, a bona fide comedic legend, was initially reluctant to take on the role of the clown, but agreed to star and direct in the film. He felt that he would be doing something worthwhile by exposing the horrors of the Holocaust. According to reports, the character performs for children in the camp, gets beaten, and eventually leads the children as they are marched to their horrifying deaths, all while trying to keep them distracted in their final moments. Upon the completion of the film, Lewis realized he had a potential disaster on his hands and prevented the film from being released, telling Entertainment Weekly in 2013, "You will never see it. No one will ever see it, because I am embarrassed at the poor work." However, The Simpsons voice actor Harry Shearer has reportedly seen a cut and told Spy Magazine in 1992, "Seeing this film was really awe-inspiring, and that you are rarely in the presence of a perfect object. This was a perfect object. This movie is so drastically wrong. Its pathos and its comedy are so wildly misplaced that you could not, in your fantasy of what it might be like, improve on what it really is. Oh my God, that's all you can say." Yet a French film critic who also apparently saw a copy, Jean-Michel Frodon, had an entirely different take, telling Vanity Fair in 2017, "I'm convinced it is a very good film. It's a very interesting and important film, very daring about both the issue, which of course is the Holocaust, but even beyond that as a story of a man who's dedicated his life to making people laugh, and is questioning what it is to make people laugh. I think it is a very bitter film, and a disturbing film, and this is why it was so brutally dismissed by those people who saw it." In 2015, a couple years before he died, Lewis apparently had a change of heart, donating a copy of the film to the Library of Congress, but on the condition that it won't be screened until 2024. Therefore, in less than 2 years' time, not only will this entry on our list no longer apply, but the world will finally see one of the most infamous and wildly misguided movies ever made. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video and want to see more of our Only in Hollywood series, please like and subscribe. Until next time, we'll see you at the movies.